was almost obese medically, like 30 BMI.
Okay.
So I was 225 pounds or so.
Oh.
So I was not healthy, and I was like, I got to choose something. So I just picked up one of these books, these adventure books, and I needed a big goal to actually do something. So I picked it up, and it's got extreme like Ironman in it. I think like the Norseman and activities like that. And then I saw UTMB, and I was like, oh, I'll just do this. And then
Hello.
Hey, we are back with another Gotta Run episode for your pleasure.
Here we are. And we had a busy weekend, didn't we?
Well, we did something that we haven't done in a very long time.
Very long time.
For me, it must have been about 4 years. And you? How many years was it been?
I can't honestly remember. I'm going to have to go back and look at the medals because I don't remember.
So now, what are we talking about?
We did a road race.
A 10K Mississauga road race that brought back a lot of memories.
It sure did, because it was my very first race back in 2004. Here I was thinking this entire time when I signed up for this race that it was my 20th anniversary of running. I would have bet money that I started running in 2003 based on timelines and where I was working at the time. Turns out it was 2004, so it's my 19th year running. But yeah, signed up for a road race, and I don't have road shoes anymore.
So
I do wear trail shoes.
Yeah, you started in the chute with trail shoes, but the whole atmosphere and all this lineups and parking and cops telling you to turn around to finally get to where we're supposed to be brought back a lot of memories.
It sure did. and you have to pick up your race kit the day before, so that's 2 trips to your race.
To wherever you're going. Yeah. Out and back. So you saw Shoppers Drug Mart, you saw this construction crew going on.
Yeah.
You saw, I don't know what else was there, a bunch of buildings, I think.
Yeah, nothing scenic. However, I will say the out and back was entertaining because, well, first we got to see the leaders of the 10K coming back towards us.
Which is always fun to see.
Yeah, always.
No matter what the race is. It's always nice to see the leaders sometime.
Because you think you're running fast until you see them. And then we got to see the leaders of the half marathon.
Yep.
And then we got to also see the people that were behind us in the 10K.
Of where we are in the field. Yeah. So when we're turning around, we're going, wow, we're doing okay. We're doing okay.
And there's one hill in the race, and I really tried to focus on the people coming at us as opposed to the hill. Because you know what it's like when you're looking at a hill, you're mentally talking yourself out of it. But I ran the whole race.
What is distracting, you don't even realize the kilometers are going, is you just keep watching everybody and looking at this, you're looking at that, and different what people wear, and
how they're running,
gaits, and time flies. So there's that. There's pros and cons to both road and trail.
Well, and on trail, how many hours have you spent and not seen a person?
There has been some races like that, yes. And I don't even realize I'm still in a race.
Exactly.
But in road running, you're surrounded by thousands of people, and you're chatting, and there's music playing, and
what about the kids we saw?
Yes, 5-6-year-olds that are ahead of us. Yeah, they're just trotting along. Yeah, it's pretty good. And then also we ran into people we know, but we never thought that we would know people in a road race. But hey, they're shouting out, hey.
Yeah, that was fun.
Hey, you.
No, we saw a few people from the ladies triathlon group in town, and it was exciting. Also, I beat my time, so I was really happy that I got sub 70 minutes. I know that's not fast, but for me, I'm pretty happy with that.
Yeah, I'd say so for for 19 years later.
And not doing any speed work, not doing really any kind of training, which I don't recommend, obviously. It's just circumstances. But the strength training got me to the end of that race, I have to say.
Right.
Yeah.
So my takeaway is, obviously, I do not miss the long lineups to the porta potties, long lineups to get your medal or to get the food after, and the parking. No, don't miss that. But I do enjoy the crowds. Yeah. If I could just transport on the way to the start line and run the race and then transport out. Right. Fantastic.
Yeah. Kind of like the elites do in the big marathon. One day, Norm, one day.
One day. Yeah. Or just go to trail and feel like an elite.
There you go. There you go.
Who's on the podcast today?
All right. Today we have Galen Reynolds. He's 38 years old. He's Canadian, but we're actually not sure where he's from. Because he's lived overseas for quite a few years, currently in Slovenia, and he's been on a hot streak with some fantastic results in Europe. And there's the Dolomiti Extreme Trail 103K, won that one.
You won that one, yep.
The Matterhorn Ultra Race in Italy.
You won that one.
100 miler.
Yeah.
And 360K, which is more than a 200 miler. SwissPeaks Trail.
He won that one.
And that's just, all those three are just last year.
Right.
He'll also be representing Team Canada at the 2023 World Mountain and Trail Running Championships this June in Austria, along with Arden. And who else have we talked to that's going to be on that team?
Brandon Miller. And we hope to talk to some more, but today we're talking to Galen Reynolds.
All right. Here he is.
Coming up.
Well, welcome to the podcast. And one of the big reasons that we wanted you on now is because we wanted to chat with you about the World Mountain and Trail Running Championships that you have coming up in June. But before we get to that, we want to start with a quote that we found on one of your sponsor, Montaigne's website, which I know you know what I'm going to say. What started as a means to get in shape turned into a curious adventure to see how far beyond what I thought possible is actually possible.
Yeah.
So, Galen, what did it take to realize that you were out of shape?
Well, actually, it wasn't very hard to realize I was out of shape. I was just coming out of grad school, and I'd taken a job in the UK. And so I got there, and for 2 years during grad school, I just totally didn't pay attention to anything athletic. I'd play pickup hockey every now and then, but that was about it. So when I came over, I was like, oh man, it was a long work day. I was in finance. So I think I was doing, 60, 70 hours a week. And I was just like, I need to get in shape, because I tell my friends that, and they actually like to remind me that I was almost obese medically, like 30 BMI. Okay. So I was 225 pounds or so.
Oh.
Yeah. So I was not healthy, and I was like, I got to choose something. So I just picked up, one of these books, these adventure books, and I needed a big goal to actually do something. So I picked it up, and it's got extreme like Ironman in it. I think like the Norseman and activities like that. And then I saw UTMB, and I was like, oh, I'll just do this. And then and that was.
There's a clue as to what you're all about.
Yeah, exactly. And that was, I think, 2012. And so then I got into the whole system of how to get in. And at the time, it was just doing qualifying races. So yeah, and that's how I got into it.
Where are you from in Canada? We couldn't find that information out.
From Toronto. Although I did undergrad over in Nova Scotia.
Oh, very good. Okay, yeah. So you're from our hood.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you guys are just north of Toronto, right?
That's right.
We are, yeah. Was UTMB the first race? No, because even at that time, I think I did eventually race it in 2015. Okay.
You still had to do qualifying races. So I had to, so all I wanted to do was finish the qualifying races so that I got the points to get in. And then it was like the third attempt in the lottery that I got in. So that was, second attempt that I got in. So yeah.
That's pretty good.
So what was your very first ultra on your quest to UTMB? Do you remember?
So since I didn't know anything about running, I didn't know anything about training. I didn't even really read about it. So my plan was to do, me and my wife were going to run a 5K, a 10K, a half marathon. What was the next? I guess a 50 miler, and then a 100 miler. And we're going to do it month after month. So it's going to build up month after month. And so
sounds so funny hearing it now, right?
I know, it's so ridiculous. And I thought that was like totally sense, it made sense at the time. But I think I started running around December and then did my first 100 in August of the following year. So it actually was 9 months time.
Okay.
And with that, I got enough points to enter the lottery.
Right.
Do you remember what that race was?
Oh, sorry. So the 100 miler was a race near London. It was the North Down Ways.
Last year was pretty epic. One of the ones that we're not familiar with is the Dolomiti Extreme Trail. Yeah, the profile looks pretty challenging in that. What can you tell us about that one?
That was more extreme than I even anticipated it to be. There were some descents where you had to down climb, so turn around and actually use your hands to go down.
Whoa.
And then not only was there that, but then you had runners below you or above you, and there's rocks starting to move and like come down. And so I remember one of these sections, a couple guys were running in front of me, and then we sort of hooked around, and there's a big cliff below us at first. So we're going down a steep bit. We're throwing rocks down, and then we hook around, and we're like, oh wow, the cliff below is actually the path. And so we're like, oh, I really hope there's no one above us right now.
Yeah, really? Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and it was some of the stuff was overgrown, and they had those mugo pine bushes things. They're not really trees, but they grow roots across the path. And so the whole path was, I don't know what you call it, but kind of like sloping downhill the whole time. So you're running across it. Your ankles are always at a 45-degree angle, running on roots. And it was just, it was like unbelievable. It was so slow, so much slower than I anticipated. But it was an excellent race and really, really beautiful.
Yeah, that part of the world, you can't go wrong.
The Dolomites
Was that section at night doing this rock when the rock? Was that night?
Yeah, it was interesting because the race starts at 10 p.m. At night, and the most technical section finishes up at about 6 to 8 a.m. and then the rest is just beautiful, nice kind of running. And so you do the most technical, hardest sections at night.
Whose idea was that?
I'm not really sure.
You end up winning this race, were you leading the whole way?
Up to halfway, because some of the guys, the local racers, are so good at running down this stuff. So the part where I would turn around and use my hands to go down, some of the guys were running down beside me, looking at me like, what are you doing? Like, you're ridiculous. I'm like, oh, I don't want to die. So yeah, some of these guys are so good at the technical stuff. So I think they were in the lead. There's two guys who I actually know and like I've raced in other races with. So there were two guys, and then about halfway I took the lead and then kind of just didn't look back. Just kept going.
Nice.
Another race that you won last year was the Matterhorn Ultra 100 miler.
Yeah, they have a kind of a funny name for that. It's the Cervino Matterhorn Ultra Race.
Yeah.
They need to work on that name.
They do, because you'd think it was in Switzerland.
Right. Although the majority of the race is in Switzerland.
Okay.
So you start in Italy, you probably run for maybe 20 miles, and then you cross the border into Switzerland. You do 80 miles in Switzerland and then just 5 just to get back to the start.
Oh, that's cool.
Back in Italy. Yeah.
Right.
So you go around the Matterhorn. What's that, sorry?
It's between two glaciers, right?
Yeah. We crossed at least 2 major glaciers. That was pretty interesting. Like they were proper glaciers, and like with the glaciers that have like rivers within them. And so you kind of like are stepping, you step through the snow, or I don't know what it is, like a crust, and your foot goes like a foot down into like running ice water.
Oh,
wow.
Yeah. So that was pretty cool.
Did you ever fill up your bottle with that glacier water?
Oh yeah, all the time. Because I think we were once 5 hours without an aid station. So yeah, I was filling up my water all the time from the glacier rivers, and yeah.
What month is that in?
That was in July.
Really? Still with snow in July?
Yeah.
Wow.
You're pretty high.
There's I guess it gets up to about 3,300. There's people skiing all year round where we run through. Like we run through a ski hill. Or it's not a ski hill because it's a glacier, but yeah, there's people skiing right over there while we're racing.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it was a really interesting race.
If that was 5 hours without an aid station for you, that'd be like 10 for me. So I would definitely be hitting the glacial water.
Yeah, I think you got it. I don't know how you couldn't. I think it was the first year of the race, and I think the race organizers, they didn't know what to expect, and I even calculated my time should be about 25 hours. I thought, yeah, I'll be done at 25 hours, and it'll be great. I'll hang out in the afternoon in this amazing Italian town. Anyway, I finished in 34 hours, and it was just like so much more brutal than I anticipated. There was like boulder fields that we had to go over, the glaciers, obviously. And it was just so steep. Everything was so steep. It was ridiculous.
Wow. Now we noticed you finished tied for first with Andrea Macchi. How did that come about? Were you running together for a long time, or?
Yeah, you couldn't stick your chest out like this.
Yeah, I thought about it. Yeah. So I knew Andrea for a couple of years now. He's one of my running friends from the Tour de Géant.
Okay.
And so I know him. His kids are my kids' ages, and so they hang out and stuff. And so we had been running for probably 20 hours together, and we weren't trying to stay together. So sometimes he's really fast uphill, so he would take off uphill, and then I'd catch him on the downhill, and we kind of end up in the aid station in the valley. And this kept going on and on and on. And then once we're like, wow, he thought he was going to finish in 25 hours too. And by 30 hours in, we're like, do you just want to finish together? And so, I think we're both happy to agree on that.
That's so awesome.
Well, if the winner is finishing 35, what is the cutoffs on these things? There must have been a lot of DNFs.
There were, I think it was 50% DNF, and I think the cutoff was something like 50 hours or so.
Wow.
Jeez.
Yeah. It started on Friday morning, and the cutoff was Sunday night.
And this was the first year that this race went on.
Yeah. And I'm doing it again this year, and they're making the course easier, I've seen, because they've cut off about 3,000 meters of elevation gain. And
Well, that's an obvious question. What makes you choose a specific race to do?
So I choose the big races for the year. So Innsbruck, obviously, Worlds is one of them. And then the other one is the Tour de Géant again. And so for the Tour de Géant, I look for a race that has a similar profile and as a lead-up race. And this is kind of the timing works out in July for the September Tour de Géant. So that's how I chose. It was between this one and the Großglockner, which was another one in Austria.
Now, what keeps bringing you back to Tour de Géant? Because you've done it several times.
Yeah, I've tried it 4 times and finished 3 times. I think I don't know. It's hard to explain, and I'm not entirely sure myself. But I find it so interesting. There's so many things that you can work on to get better. So I think and for me, I'm not a very fast runner. I just kind of go the same speed. Right. And there's so many things, like there's sleep, which is a massive strategy to work on and try and get right. And then nutrition is something totally different. And then even the way you train. And I think there's just so many facets of it that can be improved upon. And there's so little knowledge about it. So I'd like to try different things every time I go and like tweak this. And I just think I haven't put it all together yet. And that's what probably keeps bringing me back.
Is that your longest race to date? Yeah.
SwissPeaks. Yeah. Because it's about 35K longer than the Tour de Géant. So yeah.
Well,
how was your time on feet? Like now you're just going past your normal limits.
Yeah, it was my longest time on feet as well. So I think it was about 88 hours or something, maybe 86 hours. And that's hard. It was just really difficult because I think I had forgotten my first tour when I had no idea about 200 miler. So everything was blowing my mind, like the hallucinations and the sleep deprivation. But then I went into the 4th night of my first tour, and like I find that the 3rd night is hard without sleep, and then the 4th night is like crazy, and it's just like just trying to figure out what reality is the biggest challenge. And so I totally forgot about this because it had been, I guess, 5 years since I had done the first tour. So SwissPeaks comes, it's longer. I'm not even thinking about the 4th night, and 4th day goes by, and I'm like, oh, it's only I think it was 20K, but the last 20K of that race is extremely technical. And I couldn't believe it. And like, I was getting all confused because I knew that it's a point to point race, which is kind of fun. So you start way up in the mountains and you head to Lake Geneva, and I could see the lake during the daytime. And I knew it was that way. And then the path went 90 degrees to the left. And I was like, this doesn't feel right. And I haven't seen a marker for a long time. And so I just was getting really confused. And I actually had to sit down and call my mom, which sounds embarrassing, but she was my crew, so it's not that weird. So I called my mom, like, I can't tell if I'm going the right way or not, or if I'm even on the race course. And so she pulled up the tracker on the thing. She's like, yeah, you are going the right way. And so I just kept going. But that fourth night, just like I had to like just repeat like various things to myself to try and stay in reality. It's hard to describe. It's just so difficult to focus.
Yeah, I bet.
So you have no pacers with you. There's nobody that can really help you through the hardest points of the race.
No pacers are allowed. It's just you.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's I think how that's basically the wild, wild west. I mean, you're on your own out there. Anything can happen.
Yeah. Well, it is Europe. So like, if you just go downhill and follow a river, you're going to get to a town or something pretty quickly, or a village. And you can just bang on a door and, they'll let you in. So, there's that, but yeah, there's remote parts where it probably takes, if you're in trouble, it'd be a big problem, but, just running, it'd take probably 4 hours to get out to the closest anything of civilization or refugio. There's a lot of refugios up in the mountains. But once during the tour, I had lost my mind so much. I was wandering around in circles.
Oh,
this was during my first one. And the only thing that brought me back was that the next racer came and he like patted me on the shoulder. He's like, "What are you doing?" At least that's what I thought he said. And then, and I kind of everything clicked back together that I was actually in a race.
oh my gosh, that's so scary.
Of all these epic races, what challenges or surprises that came to you that you did not expect? That, I guess, how do you train for that? But it happened, and then you have to adapt.
Yeah. So there's like little injuries and niggles, like blisters where you've never gotten a blister before. Like chafing, like one time I got chafing in my armpit and I never got chafing in my armpit before. So I didn't like know what to do. So there's little stuff. Once I had to run with my pack on my front because it had shaved my back like raw. So there's little stuff like that. But then I think the biggest surprises are when you don't realize how big a hole either nutritionally you're in or sleep wise, how big a hole you are. And then all of a sudden you're just like, you don't know what you're doing. You don't know where you are. And it's just, hard to figure anything out.
Have you raced in Canada at all?
I've never raced in Canada or the States. I know it's really strange because I only started running once I moved to the UK, and then I just haven't been back. And then the one race I really wanted to do was Gary's Whistler race. Yep. And I heard he's not doing it. I heard it's done. So
no, I think there was issues with permits.
Yeah, they I think they wanted more money.
Oh, yeah. So, okay.
Oh, that's right. Wasn't it tied into the resort?
Yeah. They wanted more money. Yeah. Gary says not going to happen.
Yeah. It's unfortunate.
That's too bad. Yeah, that one looked amazing. Yeah,
for sure.
Did you know about the new 200 miler that we have in Canada called the Divide?
No.
Put on by Sinister Sports.
Okay. New is in this year?
Yes.
Yep. This is the first year. Nice. And it goes, I guess the Great Divide is part of the course.
Yeah.
And then up and over the Rockies.
Wow.
Yeah. And when we first heard it, we thought, this is the race for you. This is.
Yeah, I'm going to have to write that down. That's very cool.
So it's the same organizers as the Death Race, which I'm sure you're familiar with.
Yep.
In Alberta.
Okay.
Yeah. And what's the other big one?
Black Spur is another one.
Black Spur. Yeah. And we're missing one. What's the biggest one? Sinister 7. Sinister 7. Yeah. Okay. Same guys.
Oh, very
so you'll have to check that out.
That's very cool. Yeah. So does it start in Alberta and end up in BC somewhere?
I think you do touch BC a bit, but you're back. Then you come back to Alberta.
Mm-hmm.
I see. Okay, I got you. Wow, that'd be really cool.
Well, awesome. we're plugging this Divide, and we hope that one year you get there.
So you're off to Innsbruck in June. Is this the first time that you're representing Canada at these championships?
It is, and I'm incredibly excited. And I love how big the event has gotten. Once they combined, I think the 3 federations, or was it 2? Maybe, yeah. Anyway, when they combined all those federations into making the one event, like watching Thailand was awesome. And I think seeing all the pre-race hype, it looks unbelievable.
It really does.
Yeah. Because did you guys make it to Innsbruck? I think you guys were in Salzburg. Is that right?
We were in Salzburg, yes.
Okay.
Which was amazing.
Nice.
Very challenging.
Salzburg is spectacular.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did the Mozart 100. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. That's great.
And then we also did Scenic Trail, which is on the board, like in Switzerland, but borders Italy, Lugano.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, amazing. So, was it like at the same trip, or those are separate trips?
Separate trips.
2 different races. Yeah. 2 different times.
Yeah. But
those are my tickets for UTMB as well, which I will be doing this year. So
I heard. Congratulations. That's going to be awesome.
Every time we talk to somebody who races in Europe, I get more nervous because just the things that you guys deal with, that's so different to what we're used to in North America. But
UTMB is such a spectacle. It's unbelievable. It's the Tour de France of trail running.
Absolutely. It's the Olympics, right? It's the Olympics.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
After Worlds, what races are on your bucket list still that you haven't done yet?
Bucket list races. There's a couple. I think I'd like to go back to the islands, the Canary Islands and Madeira, which isn't Canary Islands, but so I just had really bad races there. I did Transvolcania and Madeira Ultra Trail or whatever that's called. And I just had the worst races. But Madeira was spectacular. It's such a crazy island. Kind of looks like Jurassic Park a little bit.
Yeah.
Have you guys been?
No, but
No.
we have friends
Okay.
there.
Oh, that's
We're
awesome.
gonna go and do it one year.
But we have
Oh, you
been
should.
to Gran Canaria.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So all those, the islands always get me for some reason. And then there's the one in Mauritius.
Oh,
Although
yes.
it's such a far flight. What is it called? I'm blanking on the name right now, but it's in November or so.
Yeah.
It just looks like a really technical 100-miler. So yeah.
Reunion looks pretty cool too. Have you checked that one out?
Oh, sorry, maybe it's
Island?
Reunion that I'm talking about. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is the one that Courtney Dauwalter broke the record last year?
Yes. Yeah. Exactly.
That's
yeah.
right. Yeah.
Reunion.
The island of
Yeah.
Reunion.
Sorry,
Yeah.
wrong island. Yeah.
Yeah. I know, that's the problem. There's so many bucket list races, and at least when
Yeah.
you're in that side of the world, you can get to them a little easier than from North America. So cross
That's true.
those off before you come back.
Yeah. And then there's tons of like little shorter ones that I love to do. And even in Europe, there's a whole bunch of 200-milers popping up now. There's like running across Switzerland. There's going around Lake Como.
Oh, yes.
And there's there's so many spectacular ones now that it'd take like 5 years just to try and do them all.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Do you think you'd ever go back to UTMB?
I will one day. I just like a little bit obsessed about the tour and I can't get over it. So I think once I have a race that I feel like I got close enough to where I wanted to be, then I'll be done with it. And then I'll go back to UTMB, probably one more time, because the UTMB in 2015 was my first mountain race.
Mhm.
And so it was just so mind blowing, which like how crazy, how long the climbs were, and then how steep, the very top section, and then coming off the top section, how steep it is. And I think I messed up almost everything in that race. Because I'm sure you've seen the YouTube highlights. I was way in the back, and I was a little bit frustrated about being in the back, and so I sprinted as soon as the crowds kind of cleared, and then I got extremely dehydrated, and the whole thing was a bit of a disaster. So I would like to go back and give it a good try.
Well, now with 10 years of experience
Oh, yeah.
on your back, you can definitely do much better than your first time.
Yeah, I'd hope so. Although I still make ridiculous mistakes, so.
Well, we'll definitely be watching you and your teammates in June to see how that all plays out, and we wish you luck with your training.
Well, thank you very much. No, thank you so much for having me. It's awesome.
It's great to meet you, and we're planning a European tour in the next couple of years. So if you're still in Slovenia, we'll have to look you up.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, definitely come by. I'll show you some of the mountains.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
That would be amazing. Well, all the best in June and for the rest of the race season, and we'll be following.
We'll be following.
All right, awesome. Okay, thanks a lot, guys.
Thanks,
Hey.
Galen.
Thanks.
Bye.
Well, that was Galen Reynolds living in Slovenia, but a nice Canadian boy. I hope he liked our toque and Canadiana and Terry Fox that you're wearing today. I think he did.
Yeah.
A little bit of home for him.
Yeah, it's been a long time since he's been to Canada. Never raced in Canada. But we got him on the Divide. Hopefully he can race that one year.
Yeah, exactly. Since he's built for these 200-mile plus races, for sure.
Yeah.
He will be representing Team Canada at the Worlds in Innsbruck in this June, and we can't wait to watch that because we've never really paid too much attention to that series as it has really become more popular in the last couple of years.
And that's why the team is stacked for Canada this year, because they're finally they're realizing, well, they're putting this thing together now. Whatever happened in Thailand really put it back on the map, saying, hey, the Worlds, there's something serious here.
Yeah.
Let's represent.
And we have to figure out how the point system works before the next time we talk about this.
Yeah.
Because I'm curious. Obviously, it's a accumulation of points from each
Well, I assume it's the same as cross country. The lowest point wins.
Right.
Team-wise.
The lowest or the highest?
Lowest, no, because the first person crosses is 1 point.
Oh, I see.
And then, and so on.
Okay.
So the team at the highest point loses.
Right.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and hopefully that, Austria is only 5 hours away, so he's definitely going to be prepared. Mm-hmm. And I hope he's not going to run around in circles like he did at the SwissPeaks Trail, or was it that one, or was it
Tour de Géant?
Tour de Géant?
Yeah.
Running around in circles, waiting for the next guy to come up. No, he's going to be prepared. 85K is like 5K for us.
For him.
Exactly.
All right.
And that is Galen Reynolds. Until next time.
Cheers.